Oops.
All right, take two.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across me is a doctor himself.
Hello. At least you caught it early.
That's true.
We were only a couple of minutes in before we realized we were not recording.
I'm not used to recording.
Listen, it's been a while. It's been a while in this, our fan appreciation month.
You got your fucking week of episodes, you fucking...
Yeah, exactly. And we
greedy
established
fucks.
in the annual that year 7 was our worst year.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, like Supernatural. Year 7 and 8 will be...
Listen,
awful.
You know, there's ups and downs.
Yeah.
In this crazy game called life.
Look, in this crazy mixed up podcast world, we're just
Yeah.
a couple crazy kids trying to talk to some fucking
Yeah.
pieces of
We're
shit.
just holding on to each other like wreckage in a storm.
That's right.
No, last week was a little chaotic in general.
Yep.
Between work stuff and I was doing Fiddler on the Roof.
And I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, we took it off mic.
There's a thing I don't want to talk about
What don't you want
from
to
last week.
Oh, you mean from yesterday?
I'd rather pretend like it was last week.
Listen. We all...
We're mourning as a country.
But I said, and I meant it, I've been giving you shit this whole time for like getting into hockey and jumping on the bandwagon just in these playoffs and just with the Oilers. But with
not
them,
because they're the Oilers.
but with them
yeah.
but with them losing and you having to feel that, I've now fully relinquished any gatekeeping sort of instinct. Because you're part of it now. Now you get it. If they had won, you would have been insufferable. And I would have built a wall and made you pay for it.
I will say,
but
Jesus.
But no, now you're part of the brotherhood.
I will
you're
say
in now.
This is probably the better way to get into hockey because my only problem is like if they had won, I'd be like, well, we did it. It would
I'm
be
done now.
Now I'm like we got so fucking we literally couldn't have gotten closer.
Well, I told you that if the Leafs had been in that position and it played out the same, I would have killed myself on the spot. If they were down 3 games and then came back,
I mean,
forced game 7 and then were 1 goal away and just couldn't fucking pull it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
End of story.
I think if this was the Leafs, I think our country would have killed itself.
I mean, Toronto would have. Most of the country hates the Leafs.
Yeah, but people hate the Leafs. But if this happened to the Leafs,
I don't know.
Really?
No, I think people can get behind the Oilers because they're like neutral territory.
Sure.
I think if the Leafs were in the final, Ontario would love it, and everyone else would be like, these fucking insufferable assholes. You know what
it's
I mean?
true.
Like,
Even the Canucks, I don't know if people would be like.
Canucks people can get behind for the most part, although perhaps the riot from last time has soured some people.
I did. Tom Goss did message.
But I think the teams that the whole country wouldn't get behind are the Leafs, the Sens, and the Habs.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely.
But like Jets, Flames, Oilers,
Sure.
Canucks, I think reasonably can be Canada's team
Sure.
in that
yeah,
position.
yeah. I got Tom
but-
Goss messaged me and said, if you guys lose, you have to out riot Vancouver.
I mean, that's very funny.
And I said, I'm like, there will be hell to pay. And he says, I hate the Oilers, but I'm rooting for you guys. I want to see this in my lifetime. And I said, what cruel world would let Florida win anything?
I mean, really.
I'm like, Canada deserves a win. He's like, you guys won health insurance. That's enough. And then I said,
No, we want more.
and what I said was, and what they didn't do was, I'm like, we better act like it then. Yeah. I was like, we should act like we have health insurance.
Wow, what a rallying call.
Yeah. And then he said, riot, riot, riot.
That's very funny.
And Keith Carey basically said the same thing to me.
That's hilarious.
My hockey boys in LA.
Oh yeah, but like I said, the Western Canadian teams, I think in general, can substitute in as Canada's team.
Sure.
With very minimal regional rivalry kind of exceptions.
Yeah.
Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, good fucking luck.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But I can't think. I mean, it is funny because you watched all of the like statistics about like who is rooting for who,
Yeah.
and it's just like the entire world was basically against the Panthers.
I wonder how much of that though was just that they wanted it for McDavid as opposed to like
For the
for
Oilers.
the Oilers.
I think
You
it was
know what I mean?
more
Like I think a decent amount of it was like McDavid's fucking earned this.
McDavid and I think Canada. I think people were just like,
Sure.
it's because that was a story where it's like McDavid actually didn't get brought up that much in the last few games, considering
But here's the thing.
because it's his first time.
It's because Bettman's rigged it because he hates Canada.
I do love. Did you see the guy confront him?
I mean, it happens every time.
Why do you hate Canada? And it's like, I actually don't think he hates Canada.
I actually think he does, but that doesn't mean I think he's orchestrated the
No.
league. But like,
No.
I do think he has a like, yeah, whatever, Canada kind of attitude. But that's not the same as him like puppet mastering the
Sure.
fucking final.
And I mean, from a business standpoint, like, I get it. There's less people. Like,
Totally. And his mandate as commissioner is to expand the game into non-hockey markets.
sure.
Which he has done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
But fuck that guy.
yeah, can't wait until Utah's in next year.
Oh my God. Yeah, truly. But also, like, where else in Canada can you put a league?
A team?
Yeah,
You
like,
could
or
put
put a
second-
team.
You could put a second team in Toronto or put one in Hamilton
Sure.
if they would actually like let them.
Oh,
But
what
like,
do you mean?
But Toronto could actually
fucking-
sustain a second one in the way that New York can sustain two.
I can't imagine a time where they would ever have tried to put a team in Hamilton.
Halifax is maybe a little too small
I think so.
to support it. But realistically, it's Quebec City and Toronto are
Yeah.
or GTA.
Is there
are
any-
the
Yeah, I guess that's it. Like,
because they were talking about like maybe like North Toronto, like Markham kind of area or something like that, maybe.
like
But
Saskatoon. Like,
I think
yeah,
it's too small.
yeah.
You know, I mean, maybe, but like I think it's too small. Halifax is like third probably on the Canada list,
I will
next
say,
to Quebec City.
if
and
there is
Toronto.
ever another Canadian team, we need to call them the Rough Riders.
that would be so fucking funny. Or you just do the same thing, but not with that. You'd be like, we're the Quebec Maple Leafs. You just, but ours is one word.
Yeah.
You do that. I think that's very funny. That's really good.
If you couldn't tell, each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while
yeah.
fielding questions from listeners like you.
And sometimes sports.
Yeah.
Because, like, listen, hey, Sportos, let's face it, you're fucking nerds.
I mean,
Sports
yes.
is nerds.
But
You heard me.
sports is nerds.
I don't misspeak.
But also, after this many years of reading comic books, of course I'm into sports now.
Yeah, they've driven me away. Yeah.
Speaking of comic books,
Nice. Good.
this week we're talking about one of the characters from one.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to start this year good.
Oh.
That's why we skipped a week.
Oh, oh yeah.
And
Shit.
then-
It was a reset.
Yeah.
Hold on. I mean, technically we've already reset once. Do you want to start over again?
No, maybe not a hard reset.
Oh,
Let's just
okay.
soft reset within the episode.
Yeah. Now we're good.
Now we're good.
Yeah.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Okay. And now we
Okay,
fuck.
soft reset.
Fuck.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wait,
go.
what was the other thing we were gonna stop
Fuck.
doing?
Did we say we weren't gonna?
No.
We weren't gonna be horny this year.
Yeah. There was.
We promised we wouldn't be horny.
Yeah,
this
we're
year.
not gonna be horny this year.
Yeah, which is why I jerked off before we started
Yeah.
recording.
And we're starting the episode. We're starting our first episode about Green Arrow.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing horny will come. This is the second half of we had done a Green Arrow episode and gotten so many fucking questions. We never got around to finishing. I thought this would be a good time to do that because it's a character I like, and it's my month. God damn it!
Oh,
So,
there's a thing.
I guess it's technically the fan month, but whatever.
Doing great this year.
Okay, soft reset. Now we're good.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Also, that was not a thing that
Can't
I've
start
ever.
with also, that's what I thought how a soft reset works.
It's also something I've never been accused of, which is so much that I couldn't finish.
Cool.
Anyways,
Yeah, Green Arrow, baby.
let's get into the questions.
Yeah, but a non-horny Green Arrow episode.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear.
Even though I just talked about
word,
finishing.
My word is my bond.
Yeah.
No. We were clinical about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he finished.
Yeah.
Ejaculate. I won't say come this year. I'll say
Sperm.
ejaculate.
Yeah. And I'll say flesh crema.
It's creme flesh. That's the fucking...
Fuck, that's good.
Fuck. Okay, soft reset. 3, 2, 1.
We're going over to Facebook.
Go to the face in the book. Go to the Facebook.
Yay. When you're talking about sides, leave my carrots alone. Those are John's peas.
Yeah. Fuck. I was like,
This is good.
Well, I was like, do I have a bit?
No,
And I
that was
like,
it.
no,
That was
that's
it.
Yeah.
No. 3,
It's been
2,
a week.
1.
Soft reset.
3, 2, 1.
Not horny episode.
Also,
And nothing about that. Yeah.
did you like those?
Yes.
Leave that in the ether. Who would you?
3, 2, 1.
Also, we won't be horny this year.
No, but we will be.
So horny off mic.
Yeah.
You especially.
What do you mean?
Do you want me to go through my Facebook messages lately?
I didn't make you do that.
I'm not talking about those.
Oh.
I'm talking about what's coming from you lately.
Listen, it's summertime in the city. I don't know what I'm supposed to.
The living's easy. 3, 2, 1. Who would you cast as Green Arrow if it were added to Matt Reeves' The Batman universe? And what story would you tell?
I mean, it's funny because when you say put it in the Batman, you're almost describing Arrow.
I mean, yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
You know what I like?
Unless you,
I mean, that's not to say you can't have somebody obviously we love the over the top Penguin and shit from that world.
but how do you make a character that's still inherently Green Arrow, but in that universe?
Yeah, I mean,
that's not a catalyst for a thing for Batman, an analog.
I think it's still eminently doable, but just where that movie really leaned into the withdrawn loner thing for Batman, Pattinson's performance is such a
nobody understands me.
I think it's not I don't think your Green Arrow would be exuberant woohoo, but yeah, you wouldn't be Super Mario.
Yeah, obviously.
But I do
shoots fireballs instead of arrows.
I mean, he'd be Luigi if anything, but
green.
But I do think you could tap into the energy or that excited energy of I haven't tested the flight suit yet.
Sure.
That scene in the Batman is maybe the closest to what you'd get from a Green Arrow thing. Him escaping that police precinct feels like a Green Arrow thing.
Sure.
In that world, the kind of fire an arrow up, and he's using a gadget, and they're running up the thing, and he's like, I haven't tested this. Whoa!
Yeah.
You'd have a little bit more expression out of it, but that, I do think there's enough in that world where you don't have to go full to Arrow, where he's a murderer.
Sure.
You don't have to go all the way to there. But who would you cast? I mean, I kind of feel maybe it's too obvious or unimaginative to say Austin Butler.
Oh,
trying to think of
yeah.
someone like young enough. I mean, Pattinson's getting older too. He just looks young.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe like an Austin Butler, someone who kind of
I kind of
looks
think so.
more playboy-y,
Yeah.
but then could
that could play off both sides, I think.
yeah.
Because I think, talk about fucking completely doable.
Not horny.
Oh, shit.
Richard.
Sorry.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Anyways, the character, I think, who could do it? I mean, honestly, you know who it would be is the guy that I think, did he play, the guy from, he was in Smallville. He played
That
the
played
blonde
Green
guy.
Arrow?
Yeah.
Justin Hartley?
Yeah, I feel like he could do it.
I mean, he was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be funny to transplant him like that, but I agree type-wise, 100%. Yeah.
I feel like, because you need somebody who's got that. I mean,
I mean,
it's unfortunate that he ate people because what's his Army
Army Hammer?
Yeah,
I don't know if he actually did or not, but I'm like defending Army Hammer now.
Look, when you're
this year, these episodes won't be horny, but I will be defending cannibalism.
Look, when your wife brings groceries home at 8 p.m.
What, you're gonna make meatloaf now?
No, you're gonna have to eat
a
her.
person. Yeah.
In a not horny way.
Yeah. I can't make that clear
Yeah.
enough.
Not in a way she'll enjoy it.
Just a murder way.
Yeah.
A normal way. I mean, the other thing we could use for this casting thing is like a thing about the Batman's casting across the board is taking hyper recognizable people and completely making them unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Paul Dano, Robert
Yeah,
Pattinson, even
yeah.
really, Peter Sarsgaard, even like John Turturro, like all these performances are so fucking like muted and internal. Like,
Yeah.
that movie is stacked with Andy Serkis. Like, that movie is stacked with people, but
Okay.
they're all playing such like, internal versions of these characters that you kind of like, you do a little bit like lose them in the tapestry.
So to do that, do you go?
So you got to pick someone like hyper. I mean, Austin Butler might still fit, but you pick someone like hyper famous and recognizable, and then like their
But here's
Green
the problem.
Arrow, you're kind of pulling them back.
If you're gonna do that method, do you take someone who's like traditionally like not less attractive and make them attractive?
Okay, who do you have in mind?
Well, Paul Giamatti. No.
Oh yeah, I've got the arrows.
Yeah. Was that your Giamatti?
No, I don't misspeak.
Red wine.
I don't have a Giamatti. Okay,
Really?
fuck.
But I can't imagine that would be the case.
Fuck.
But I mean, somebody obviously he was already in it. But let's come to like Paul Dano or something like that, where you like, because like, how do you make somebody Green Arrow and make it so different?
I do think you also maybe you go the Pattinson route too, which is like you go with someone who is like in shape in that they're not like me, but they're not like buff, ripped.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
I think that's probably the
Yeah.
way to do it.
like not a Chalamet or a Tom Holland, but a Chalamet or something.
Yeah. No, I
Not
mean,
him, but that
I
adjacent.
think you
know?
nailed it.
Yeah.
I do think that's the right way to go.
Yeah.
As much as I don't think Austin Butler maybe needs another role, but like
But how great would it be if he still had the Elvis voice?
come here, Black Canary.
Not horny. In a totally platonic way. Come here, Black Canary.
You know the classic phrase I always use for characters.
Green Arrow's catchphrase.
Yeah. Come here,
Totally
Black Canary.
platonically. Come here, Black Canary. I was going to say, you failed the city.
We're getting so close to Elvis Harkonnen.
Yeah, we are.
So let's leave Facebook and head on over to Instagram.
Now we're going to Instagram, take some questions and answer them.
First question comes from Tristan Basile, who asks, who's the perfect foil to Ollie's loudmouth lefty views? Could it be a professional boot thrower, Captain Adam, or someone else?
I mean, Captain Adam is a good foiled that way. They kind of do that a bit in Justice League Unlimited. So
Sure.
that Justice League cartoon, the first 2 seasons, it's Justice League, and you're mostly just following the 7 of them. And then it's like season 3 or whatever. They go Justice League Unlimited, and the first episode of that is about them trying to recruit Green Arrow. And he doesn't want to join the Justice League because he wants to just like fight for the little guy, and he doesn't want to fight big monsters, and he thinks it's a distraction from the work he does.
Yeah.
And he's put on a mission with Captain Atom and Jon Stewart, 2 very military
Sure.
kind of guys, as well as Supergirl, like sort of like hothead that thinks she's invulnerable, won't take orders kind of thing. And he ends up, coming down to Green Arrow to save the day and stuff like that. And but in that one, he does like there's this monster Brimstone rampaging through China, and the Chinese government doesn't want the Justice League there. And Green Arrow's like, but these villages are going to get destroyed. And Captain Atom's like, I don't know what we could do. Like, and he's like, you fuck, like, and he kind of goes rogue. Like, they do play that idea, at least in that episode. In the comics, it's usually, or was for a bit at least, Hawkman.
Of course.
Who sort of embodied that kind of more like criminals deserve what they get kind of thing to Ollie's like. I mean, Ollie will still like put an arrow through someone's fucking femur, like, but like they do come from different places.
Sure.
But
we come from different worlds.
You and me. So Hawkman has also been that, but I think you're on to the question asker is on to the right idea, which is that, the only additional type of foil is actually someone more like Black Canary, who has similar politics, but comes from the other side of the tracks.
Sure.
Maybe has a rougher upbringing.
Yeah.
Or a different. I mean, Black Canary's backstory, like woof. but Ollie is fully Silver Spoon guy, ends up on island, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Fights for little guy. Sometimes he loses as well, just like Batman. But he gets it, like, he also funded the fucking Justice League. Like, Ollie's got money.
Yeah.
So the other kind of foil is not the opposite politics, but it's the opposite approach to them, because there is that sort of like the saviorism thing where it's like people might have their heart in the right place, but they just don't get the experience. Green Arrow, and Green Lantern do a version of that in Hard Traveling Heroes, where Green Arrow is the like, you don't get it down here.
Sure.
But I think there's also a version of that where Green Arrow is in the Green Lantern position, where it's like, you fight for the little guy, but like, do you get it?
Yeah.
And you go one
I mean,
step,
I do like that
you
because
go one step further, and that's where you have like Mia Dearden and Black Canary and like some of the other members of the Arrow family kind of slot into that position a little bit.
Yeah, it feels like it's not a thing that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it exists for sure.
Next question comes from Jeff Attack, who asks, do you think screen adaptations of Green Arrow should lean more on Ollie being a leftist? He always just seems a little like Dollarama Batman when they take away such a big part of his personality.
I mean, I'm tempted to agree. I think...
Yeah?
What I would want from a Green Arrow if he showed up in like James Gunn's.
Because what other versions have we gotten? We've gotten besides Arrowverse,
Smallville,
sure,
Arrow, cartoons.
Yeah,
I mean the comics.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's several cartoon versions of Green Arrow,
but I mean from screen adaptations. Like, are the cartoon versions not really that lefty? Like,
they are, but in a really like
kids way,
like shaved corners kind of way. And I wouldn't go so far as to say they're avoiding it, but it's so heavily simplified that It's like The closest you get is him just saying like, "I want to fight for the little guy."
Sure. Yeah.
He does, Justice League Unlimited again is maybe the closest.
I'm pretty sure the right says that too.
Good people on both sides. Justice League Unlimited does a pretty good job of him. Like he has a speech later where like Superman is like, Cadmus took Supergirl. I'm gonna go down there and shut them down. And like both Jean-Jeans and Green Arrow have to be like, do you not see like that they're scared of us? Like going down and doing that, whether or not Supergirl was wronged, is like not the way to do it, and it will prove their point that they have to defend themselves from us.
Sure.
And Green Arrow has this speech about like, you guys fucking scare me.
Oh.
As an authority thing. And that's sort of like a version of his lefty kind of thing. But the thing that cartoon never really gets to dive into is like homelessness. But like it's, you know what I mean? Like
sure,
they're busy fighting Lex Luthor on a space station. They're not.
Sure. Yeah.
So I would want Green Arrow is tricky in the way that a lot of these characters are tricky, but in that his solo adventures are so much more about the city, the mayor, kind of like Batman.
Yeah.
But you have to do it in a way that's different than Batman, and so that's where the politics come in. So when you take the politics out, you're right. It just kind of feels like we didn't have the rights to Batman, as opposed to what actually makes him interesting.
Totally. Next question comes from Mara in Iowa, who asks, I got into DC Comics through the Arrowverse, specifically Arrow. What did that show get the most correct about Oliver Queen? What was the biggest thing they overlooked?
I mean, I will say it is the most recent few issues of Green Arrow aside, it is the most Oliver move in the fucking world to push people away because you think you're the one that's dragging them down.
Oh, sure.
That 100% is absolutely an Oliver move.
As frustrating as it is.
As frustrating as it is, the show got that. But it kind of, I feel like they got there like by accident, as opposed to like, this is a thing about Green Arrow.
I hear you, yeah.
They kind of just like went with like, well, we have 20 episodes to do. We need some drama.
Like push away people.
But that is pretty Green Arrow.
Fair.
To push people away.
Yeah.
Fucking, like that's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
The show, as it evolved, like the first season, he basically just had real arrows and was murdering criminals.
Yeah.
And then season 2, they were like, what if the show was Green Arrow?
Yeah.
And there was like, all of a sudden, there were like fucking super soldiers and the backdoor pilot for the Flash.
Yeah.
Fucking Deathstroke. And then it was like, so should he also have like some trick arrows? And then as like for a few seasons, it was like, he'd have like an arrow that like hacks the camera,
sure,
or an arrow that like to grapple, or an arrow to like tie someone up.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's getting there.
That's getting there. They even eventually got to boxing glove arrow.
Wow, really?
They did. They did it in a way where I think he's fighting Ted Grant in season 3 or something like that. So they're in a boxing ring, and at one point he puts the arrow in a glove and fires it at him.
Sure.
Does some shit like that. And you go like,
you did it.
I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. Which admittedly, like, pretty good. So that's kind of fun. I do think his general, like, sort of like patronizing, weird, strained relationship with sidekicks is also right.
Fair.
Again, maybe by accident, but
yeah.
Ollie is, Bruce is difficult, but with each of those Robins, there's more or less no doubt that he cares about them. Ollie is like negligent. Ollie's like a bad mentor sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Not always, but like,
well, yeah, when one of your guys gets addicted to drugs.
If you move past their kids in a dangerous line of work thing, Bruce is dedicated to training them so they're safe, so they know what they're doing, so they follow his system.
Sure.
And Ollie's kind of like, I don't know, try it. It's like, no, you fucked up. like he's not great.
Yeah.
He's a lot better now, but that's character
What do you mean you're not going to do drugs? Don't you want to be cool?
Yeah, it's me, Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
I mean, not Oliver Queen, a different guy with this mustache.
Yeah.
Um,
Is the mustache the biggest thing to overlook?
he does run for mayor. He does get implicated in politics. But again, on Arrow, the show, it doesn't feel like the lefty kind of thing. It feels just like another rich guy running for politics.
Sure, yeah.
And again, Arrow's problem is that it really wanted to be Batman.
So what do you think the biggest thing they overlooked was?
The biggest thing they overlooked is his humor.
Yeah.
You, even in the episodes of Flash or Legends where he'd be in there, or in the crossover things, which is when someone else was clearly writing and they'd liven him up a bit, and he'd have a like, well, some of us can't change. Like Supergirl and Flash show up, and then he pulls up on the bike, and he goes like, I don't have super speed.
Yeah, yes.
That's the closest you would get, but like, I don't know if it's Stephen Amell or just the fact that he's still trying to be a consistent character.
I think it's a combination. Yeah.
Like, you never really get to, again, Justice League Unlimited, a great version of Green Arrow. You know, like there's an episode where he's on Black Canary's motorcycle behind her, and he's just like, "Are we dead yet? Are we dead?" Like he doesn't like her drive. Like
that's fun.
He has like buddy cop rhythm in his.
I think that's why Hard Traveling Heroes works so well. Yeah,
totally. I mean, and even that's like a more serious kind of version of it. But that's the thing that the show fucked up, is that like Oliver takes the mission seriously,
but he's fun about it.
But he is like, there's a joy to it, a slight exhilaration. Maybe it's a little destructive even that he likes it that much, but it's in there.
Sure.
And the show doesn't have that joy at all.
No, that's totally fair. Next question from Liam K. Willis. What'd you ask him about, Willis?
Yeah, what'd you talk about, Liam K?
Who asks,
3, 2, 1.
What's the deal with Count Vertigo? Where to read up on them?
So Count Vertigo, I would argue, is Green Arrow's archenemy.
Okay.
His
makes sense.
Luthor, his Joker.
Power-wise makes sense.
Power-wise for sure makes sense, you know? To have someone that puts you off balance and dizzy versus a guy whose whole thing is his accuracy.
God, it sounds like a nightmare. Yeah.
But also, like, character-wise, like Green Arrow is a man of means who sometimes loses those, but also like has this harrowing experience and comes out of it changed. He has a different perspective, and he wants to do right by regular people.
Sure.
You know, Count Vertigo is like nobility from another country. He looks down on other people.
Yeah.
It's all about his right, the divine right to rule, the power inherent to him. Like they have, character-wise, they're positioned as opposites as well. So in a few ways, I think they're really good as arch enemies. The weird thing is, like, it's about exposure. You know, there's a million Batman books, so you could do so many Joker stories to establish them or whatever. There's not, like, I wouldn't say compared to other Green Arrow villains, there's that many more Count Vertigo stories, like, to make him really kind of stand out. The New 52 version is a little bit different. His initial one, his powers weren't inborn. It was that he had this crazy vertigo, and they implanted a thing in him that would correct it, but he could use it to instill the vertigo in other people. It was like a technology thing.
Sure.
I think it's since now a meta power. It's usually for him, it's about trying to gain control of his country, Vlatava. Like, he's got a niece that's like the rightful ruler, and he's always trying to take over. And there's that kind of a thing. The Arrow show really fucked Count Vertigo.
Really?
And like Black Canary, tried to do a redo.
Oh, God.
The redo was better, but still not quite it. In the first season, when they were like, it's a Batman show, Count Vertigo was just like a drug dealer. The drug was called Vertigo, and it would make people go. So he was just a guy like throwing vials of drugs at people.
Oh God.
That was it. In season 3, they brought in fucking Peter Stormare
What?
to be like Werner Zeitel, like the actual Count Vertigo.
Whoa.
And he was scary and like cool, but just like a guy. He didn't
Sure.
have like whoop, 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 whoop
Sure.
kind of powers.
Yeah.
So they still kind of didn't really get there, which is too bad. But yeah, I mean, I like Count Vertigo. I mean, the best place to go look for him, I can't think of like a specific issue or whatever. He's got a bit in the New 52 run of Green Arrow. He has a bit in the Rebirth run of Green Arrow. He hasn't shown up yet in the current run of Green Arrow. He's, if you go back to the 70s, 80s, Count Vertigo's in there. Count Vertigo, if you just want to read about that character alone, go back to the sort of initial run of like Ostrander's Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Count Vertigo's in there. He's part of the initial lineup of the Suicide Squad, and he has this whole thing about him like wanting to die, and he tells Deadshot to kill him, and Deadshot's like, if you ask me again, I'll do it.
Wow.
So Vertigo's in there, and interesting to read as well. So that might be a spot to look.
Yeah,
if you're
that sounds
interested in the
awesome.
character, yeah.
All right. Let's leave Instagram and head on over to Reddit.
Where everyone's nice and no one's ever mean.
From Natai Noobmaster, who asks, what is your most enjoyed Green Arrow / Arrow family storyline or book?
Ooh.
Personally, Kevin Smith did by far my favorite adaptation of the character, Onomatopoeia Supremacy.
Yeah, I mean, the Smith Hester stuff is really good.
It's crazy that Smith hasn't really done that much comic writing, considering how well liked this thing is.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think he did some Daredevil stuff that people really liked.
and a little bit of Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just that he was like,
I mean, comics don't pay,
and I'm
but-
out of story to tell, or if
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, I make more money doing movies. Or
Yeah.
like, who knows? Or he just doesn't like the process of writing.
Sure.
on-
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
Who
don't know
knows?
what it is, but
He's done a lot for somebody who just was like a fan and they was asked to do it.
totally. Yeah, his Green Arrow run is quite good. Onomatopoeia is a great character that came out of that. A character that I think can work on screen, but works so well in a comic book.
I mean, yeah.
Where you can see him say like snap and then like break someone's neck.
Yeah,
and then you see
yeah.
the snap there. Like you get the double impact of the word even. Whereas in live action, you might hear him say like click, but then like
Yeah.
in a comic, you could show a gun cock and just go click. And you go like, yeah, click, click. He made the sound. But in live action, you go like, so is he just going to say the word and then a sound happens? Or now does he have like perfect mimicry of sounds?
Yeah.
Like, does he go and then like, I think it's not impossible, but there's a hurdle to onomatopoeia in live action. But very cool character from that run. Personally, my favorite Green Arrow stuff that I've read is probably the Benjamin Percy stuff. So like Rebirth era Green Arrow. I think that run is like more or less my favorite run of Green Arrow. Which might be a little bit crazy because I put it over like the Grell stuff from the 70s and 80s. I put it over the Smith Hester stuff. I put it over I do like the Lemire Sorrentino like contained Outsiders War arc from New 52, but that's rather polarizing. Some people don't like that one. But and I think a big piece of what I like about that one is Sorrentino's art is so amazing. But yeah, I'd say in general, probably the Benjamin Percy, like the Rebirth era Green Arrow run is my favorite.
Yeah.
There's some great stuff in there. And villains I really like are the Ninth Circle, which is essentially like a villain bank. We love the infrastructure of
I mean, yeah.
things,
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's like on Supernatural, we like where there's like a black market trade of occult items
or the
something.
TVA in Marvel. Yeah.
The TVA and Marvel or something like that. The idea of like the villain bank.
Yeah. The administrative
we
back
fund
end.
your
Yeah.
weird shit. Like
Love that.
the Ninth Circle was interesting and a great villain for Green Arrow. You know, like total capitalism as villainy sort of thing. It's
So good.
that's all in there.
Is there any Arrow family story?
And Otto Schmidt's art is great in that run. If you want Arrow family, like the Hester stuff's pretty good. Probably the run where Ollie dies is decent. I can't remember who the creators are at the time, but that sort of era. And actually, like the current one, it's a weird one because it's very sci-fi and very like the Green Arrow book is like weirdly tied into like the big arc of the DC universe right now with Waller and all the shit that's been unfolding. But the nice thing about it is the family really coalesces in this book.
Sure.
In a way that I don't feel like it always did in other books. There's the what's his name? God. Judd the guy that wrote the issue you hate, the HIV one.
Oh.
In that run, you do get a sense of Arrow family, but really, like the current run is where it's like, no, and we all love each other. Where like, there's no like, I hate my childhood. Blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
We're kind of just like now in Green Arrow, we're just like over it. It's like the Bat family. It's like the Super family. We're just there now.
Yeah.
Which is so cool because the Arrow family is fucking big.
Yeah.
You know, like there's Ollie and Dinah and Roy and Mia and there's Arrowette and there's Emiko and there's
That's
Leon
right, yeah.
and there's Cheshire. There's now Red Canary. There's like the Arrow family is large.
Totally.
So it's pretty cool to see, I would say. Connor, obviously.
Yeah.
Before all the Connor people come after me for not saying it.
All right. Let's go to the next question from Just Takes One Bad Day, 725.
Yeah. Or 725.
Yeah. One or the
Somewhere
other.
between 1 and 725 times is one time too much.
Yeah. So it's either the first day or
Like 2 years
2
in.
years in.
Yeah.
I'm going to lose it. Ollie and Diana are the perfect DC couple.
Yeah.
And yet,
Platonically.
of course,
Yeah.
the family isn't as tight-knit as the Supers or the Bats. Don't you think DC should play more into the family dynamic of their husband-wife relationship and maybe even give the to a kid?
Okay. I have some feelings about this.
Yeah.
So, feeling number 1 is they should just be raw thought. No.
No.
Sorry.
3, 2, 1.
Feeling number 1 is that like the canonicity of this is totally, I think, not a thing, but strictly speaking, in the Longbow Hunters, I think Dinah like loses the ability to have kids.
Oh, yikes.
So much has happened since, and like, you know, again, canon, right?
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that means. I don't know that that's why it hasn't happened for them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that's thing number 1. Thing number 2, especially in this current run, because the family has come together and we're sort of like over all of our shit, I don't really need that from them. I kind of like, in a sort of lefty way, that they have this sort of like
Progressive family
found
structure.
family.
Yeah.
It's sort of- it's almost like having like a mixed household, you know, like where it's like I brought these couple of kids, you
Yeah,
brought,
yeah.
like Brady Bunch kind of thing, you know, like that shit works for me with Green Arrow and Black Canary. I mean, thing number 3 is in Injustice, they do have a kid. They do that. And I'm not sure that actually adds that much.
Sure.
Superman and Lois having a kid, I liked. Batman and Talia have a kid. Batman and Catwoman having a kid, I like. I don't I don't know that that's the thing I need from them. And I also think it's nice to depict that that's not necessarily the end game for every happy romantic couple. It's not that like
agree.
we're happy until this, we can't do
Yeah.
this, and then it's kind of just nice to show it's like, no, this is like our family, the way it is.
Yeah.
And that's not. I'm being snarky, but it's not about the question asker. But you know what I mean. Like I think there's an
Yeah, it's a little
impulse.
bit.
There's an impulse to bend stories all to go one direction. and
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary. I kind of like them like this, and it's nice to just have an example of a family like that.
Totally.
That's sort of where I'm at.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Why would I have to prep? This isn't a horny question, is it?
We're heading from Reddit to the doc score.
Fuck.
3,
3,
2, 1.
one.
Doc scored. Fuck. Okay.
Okay.
Try it again.
Reset. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. We're heading to the doc scored.
Oh, Doc scored.
What?
Oh, Fortuna.
3, 2.
I did Oh, Fortuna.
That was a song.
Read a book, you clod.
Yeah, because that's what the music part is for.
Yeah, read a book.
Yeah.
Wait.
You know where music is.
Fuck. Shit. Damn it. Year 8, off to a great start.
You know music. Read a book.
Take a look.
It's in a book.
Music.
Reading doc score.
Fuck, I should have. I can dox anything.
Scored. Jesus Christ. Is your head even in the fucking game?
I'm
Are you fucking Dreisaitl?
I'm trying to stay dry, Seidel.
If you don't think I've said there's not a Dreisaitl in the house,
Hell yeah.
at
nice.
least once.
Yeah. As opposed to wet Seidel.
3, 2, 1.
1.
First question comes from only just butt fart butt.
Platonically.
Yeah, I don't think farts are horny.
I implore you to go to the internet.
Fair. Okay, fair. It's not only butt cake butt. How many children does Ollie have?
I mean,
Wow.
quite a number
Wow.
adopted.
Oh, sure. What about
but
the
Actual children of
what about
Oliver
using
Queen?
semen and an egg?
Yeah. If we imagine a totally joyless platonic,
I mean, some of us don't have to try that hard.
if you could imagine joyless sex with me,
Some of us don't have to.
I'm alone for a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're about to have some joyless sex with you.
Oh yeah, it's the thing I'm looking forward to most.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't have to. Oh, neither of us are going to enjoy
I
this.
just find
Me,
I find a wall in my house with no picture on it. And just stare at that.
just a hole in the wall.
Oh, I just meant.
Oh,
Well, I can't say it because we're not being horny.
no, and I haven't said anything.
I won't be
otherwise.
horny on main feed episodes.
Nice. Oh, so we're allowed to on doubles?
No,
Oh shit!
and I'm sure this won't affect our comedy.
Yeah, I won't.
We haven't hung our hats on this at all.
Oh
I'm
no!
not kneecapping the podcast
Yeah, it's really year 8
for year 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
How many kids does Ollie have?
lots in the adopted kind of ward way, like Batman.
Yeah, lots in the tissue paper.
And like Batman, essentially one, like
DNA,
by
yeah.
blood. Because I can't say by semen. 3, 2, 1. Which is Connor Hawk,
Yeah.
who's the child of Ollie, who he fully abandons,
Yikes.
knows that exists and abandons.
Poor Chalk.
Connor Hawk, Chalk.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Thanks.
But yeah, I mean, like Roy and Mia are like children to him. Emiko is his sister, half sister. We fucked this up last time.
Yeah.
And I'm hesitant to get back into it, if I'm being honest. I had to put the whole episode of our fuck ups out on Patreon.
But that was a next level.
But I more than any other episode of the show, I had to excise part of that episode.
Oh wow.
And I if you listen to both, you can tell, but I took bits from other conversations.
Oh wow.
Made a new conversation. I fixed that episode
after it went out. Or
no, I did it before it went
out.
And then I put the unfixed version on Patreon.
Okay.
Because I felt like I had to fess up to it.
Fair. I love that.
But yeah, essentially Connor is his kid, and the rest are his kids in all the ways that matter, just not genetically.
Yeah. But in the ways that certain actions are less weird.
Easy. 3, 2, 1.
Next question comes from JK, who asks.
Rowling? Ugh.
Oh, God. Yeah. Loves comics.
Yeah.
Got some real strong opinions about the Superboy.
I'm sure. And that's where it stops.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
JK asks, who is the most problematic dad, Oliver Queen or Bruce Wayne? I think we've already talked about
definitely
this.
Oliver.
It's Oliver, for sure.
Bruce has his issues. But again, if we set aside the child endangerment thing or the, whatever, Bruce is hard on them and puts the work into making them safe by being relentless.
Sure.
In his training and in his discipline and in
doesn't make him a good dad.
Ollie is kind of I don't know, here's an arrow, knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Or he was. Ollie now is
slightly better.
A different he's learned, he's grown. But Ollie, as these kids were coming up, was kind of
Fair. Speaking of, next question comes from Multi Sanchez, who asks, why is Green Arrow's sidekick called Speedy?
I mean, it's because he's a quick draw on the arrows.
Sure.
And to be fair, Green Arrow and Speedy existed long before the idea of a Kid Flash.
Really?
Way before. Green Arrow first appears in 1942 or something like that. And truly, his first appearance, the story is almost the case of the Chemical Syndicate,
really?
The Detective Comics 27 story. They're very similar.
Wow.
It's sort of very transparent what's happening, but that's in the 40s. Jay Garrick, the Flash, debuts in 1940, but there is no sidekick for Jay. Now, we've now retconned in this past year that there was.
Yeah.
But there wasn't at the time. And Barry Allen, the Flash, doesn't come on the scene until 56. And then Kid Flash probably, I'm guessing at this point, but I'm imagining 58.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that. Maybe even later. So really, we've got essentially 15 years between Speedy and Kid Flash. Speedy just got there first. Obviously, it makes no sense when you look at them together.
Yeah,
especially when you put them on the Teen Titans and you go wait. And
this one's called Speedy? Yeah.
Plenty of jokes in universe and out have been made about it. But the fundamental fact of it is that Speedy as a character existed for 15 years before Kid Flash.
Wow.
So there was no, why would you call this one? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was that he was a quick draw.
Sure.
With the arrows. That was the idea.
Nice.
In the way that, Robin doesn't mean anything to Batman.
Sure, yeah.
We're just picking names,
Yeah. What did Robin not at least mean the bird?
Well, a robin is a bird.
No.
What I mean is, you don't go hey, bats and robins.
Sure, yeah.
31 flavors of
bats and robins.
This goes right to the top. Oh my god! Joke from another podcast.
Jones will like the whole stream of those.
More than you know.
I went through all that and I was like, I need to show someone what I went through.
It was incredible. This is a bad time to bring it up because I said that we wouldn't talk horny,
Sure.
but you taking the stuff that I was sending you and then,
And trying to basically
and then feeding it in basically verbatim,
Yeah.
what it spat out
yeah,
is a problem.
I figured. Yeah, have we used it?
No, I don't mean like that.
Yeah, because
I'm just saying.
you don't. She doesn't even exist, so it's fine.
3, 2, 1.
Anyways, next question comes from Dan,
Okay.
who asks, "How do you sell Richard on Grell Green Arrow?"
I mean, I think the Cell, a relatively political era of Green Arrow, the
Yeah.
70s, 80s. But I think the Cell is the art. Like, it's all that kind of pencil-y, like, stuff that feels like it would have inspired Alex Ross.
Sure.
I think that's the big sell for Grell era Green Arrow. Now, I'm also very specifically thinking of Longbow Hunters, but even in the non-Longbow Hunter stuff, that's a little bit more like standard comic booky art. I feel like Green Arrow always leaned a little bit more into the real realm. Keep in mind, 70s, 80s,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like felt more like real-ish than something like Kirby or, that's a little more like fantastical or whatever. To me, I think the real sell on for you is that the art is good
Yeah.
in that era. Like undoubtedly you would read it and go like, it's a little heavy-handed,
Sure.
right? So I think for you to sell you on it, I'd be like, check it out for the art. His most iconic look, with the hat and the mustache and the thing and like the hood and the way his
Yeah.
bow looks and that, like, probably his most iconic look is from that era. And you get a real good sense, I think, of the movement and the action of, the thing that's fun about Green Arrow and maybe part of unlocking him, it's not just his politics, but it's also that unlike Batman, Green Arrow is like taps into like the like swashbuckler thing, like the Errol Flynn, like
Sure.
it feels like it's like pirate stuff or like Robin Hood or like there's a Batman has a grapple gun too, but does Batman like swing in and like but Green Arrow would like I don't know how to describe it or why I feel this way, but Green Arrow is like a swashbuckler.
Yeah. No, I get
Whereas
that. I mean, the
Batman's
mustache. helps.
Batman's a brawler, like a
Yeah.
martial artist. Green Arrow's like an adventurer.
Yeah.
Like it almost has that kind of feel of like he's not an archaeologist. We know there's so many archaeologist
funny.
characters, but like if you were doing that kind of movie,
Yeah.
the big MGM one on the big sets or the stunt show or whatever, you wouldn't do that for Batman. You'd do it for Green Arrow.
Totally.
He'd like he's
Well,
Indiana,
I
he's
think
Indiana Jones. He's Errol
I think
Flynn,
bows and arrows
he's-
helps. I think the mustache helps. I think his like general approach to things helps. Like,
And there's the very obvious like Robin Hoodiness.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, yeah.
like stealing from the
Yeah.
rich, give to the like that kind of thing too. You're tapping into lots of those, but I do think that era of book gets that feeling in there too.
totally.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Okay. Prepare yourself.
Okay.
To the previous time I said this.
This is like a fine question to ask this year, right?
No.
Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. That's the horny alarm.
The
3, 2, 1.
That's the Whackabulance.
It's the slambulance. It's
Slambulance.
gotta be, right?
Yeah. 3, 2,
3, 2, 1.
From Tone DX 2049. If bats eats cats, then surely Arrow eats sparrows, right?
I mean, listen. Nice. And regardless of where the bats cats thing lands, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look at him.
Yeah.
You think that's a man that doesn't
Look, let's just say.
Also, you think Black Canary's the kind of woman that would put up
Oh,
with
I
a
mean,
man
yeah,
that
of course.
doesn't? Are
Of
you
course.
kidding me?
Let's
A
just
woman
say
like that.
he's gonna have to wash his beard daily, or be cool with it.
Or be cool with it. Either way, I guess. 3, 2, 1.
Moving on. Next question.
We did a great job of not being horny there, and that was definitely like fun banter and jokes.
Yeah, I know.
We didn't completely ruin our dynamic.
Yeah. This concept hasn't changed.
Yeah, we
Ultimately.
didn't dissolve the chemistry of the show.
Yeah, this won't end the show. Next question comes to us from the greedy Chagoy,
yeah.
who asks,
It's Chagoy.
"It's me, Chagoy."
Hell yeah.
La, 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 la.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Tradition.
If the proficiency level of a bow and an arrow in the DC Comics universe is represented by X,
Oh, no.
what equation best captures... This is what happens when you don't have horniness. What equation best captures the relationship between the archer's skill and the effectiveness of their shots? In other words, how does he keep that Van Dyke from getting destroyed on the nightly prowls? A better question.
Nope. 3,
Three,
2,
two,
1. I just want you to know, you said it out loud first, but I was right there.
I know. I saw it in your eyes when I looked at you.
The fear. Like,
Yeah.
am I going to say it?
Yeah. How do you think he gets them so pointy in the ends?
3,
3,
2,
2, 1.
I don't know what the equation is, but the gist of the question is like, an arrow is, I guess, slightly cumbersome as a weapon. It's got, you have limited ammo and you have to have a certain range of motion and things like that. How is Green Arrow not getting the shit kicked out himself? He also, trick arrows, gadgets, goes a long way. B, he does the Legolas thing a lot of stab someone, reuse the arrow.
Yeah.
There's that kind of thing. And then I think C is that in a lot of interpretations of him, I don't know what this bow is made of that it can take this kind of beating, but it's sort of like a melee weapon for him.
Yeah.
He'll hit and, any real bow would snap in half right away, but
Yeah.
he uses it like a fucking bow staff,
Yeah.
so that's part of it too. He's also a competent fighter. He's not
A great
fighter.
yeah.
He's not in the class of Batman, Wildcat, Black Canary.
Yeah.
He's Question even. He's not up there. But just in that he's a superhero with no powers, he can throw a punch. He can take a punch. He's a scrapper. But he also he knows his drill though too, right? That's why you kind of go and you fire some arrows from a distance, you set some traps, and you use a gadget.
Sure, yeah.
He fights different than Batman does. Batman will drop into the middle of a group and hand fight all of them.
Yeah.
Green Arrow won't necessarily do that. So,
Totally. I think that I do have you ever seen those TikTok videos where they show you how actual bow and arrow
just that one guy, right? That's always dressed like a fucking medieval guy.
The ones where it's you don't the one I saw was a woman, but it's just you wouldn't put it behind your back, you have arrows on the side, and the being you don't hold it like that,
you don't
most
you don't
TV
keep it in
yeah
the tension or whatever.
yeah most TV stuff doesn't
Gets it wrong.
yeah.
No, that's true.
But that was the last question. That's right.
Shit.
So we would love to hear from you, residents.
Yeah.
Next week's episode.
We're waiting on the final result.
Oh.
The Vanguard Tournament of Pandering is unfolding. We're 2 days away, I think, from knowing which DC live-action TV show we're going to be talking about.
Hey.
We're getting down there. There's only a few options left. And I've got to say, Legends of Tomorrow has been making a heroic comeback in the Patreon Second Chance
Really?
tournament. It could be Legends of Tomorrow.
Wow.
Which would be a ton of fun. This will possibly sway the vote. But as soon as we know what that is, you'll know. We'll post it everywhere, and then you can send your questions for whatever that TV show winner
exciting.
is.
Yeah, it's good.
So I was queuing you up to say like where they could.
Oh, and the ways in which you can send in those questions.
3, 2, 1.
And of course,
3, 2, 1.
At the end of this tournament of pandering, you'll then have a theme for the week, which you can send those questions to our various social media platforms.
Dr. DC Podcast, wherever you can find us.
You're
doing really good. I just want you to know you're doing a great job.
Oh, thanks. That's great.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah. You can go to our website,
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
Of course, you can always call us, I think still, 208-917-DCEU.
I don't know. Give it a shot.
Yeah, why not?
And if that doesn't work, I'll give you Josh's number.
Yeah, and also, we haven't gotten it in a while, so I don't even know if he'll know to even look, but that's fine.
Also true.
If
3, 2, 1.
If you like the show, why don't you give us a 5-star review, and we will read that on a future episode. And if you like the show, you want to spend a little money to get a little something, subscribe to our Patreon.
Patreon.com/DrDC. There's a $1, $5, $7 level. They all give you access to the Discord, our awesome Discord fan community. At the higher levels, you get bonus episodes, bonus series even, and it all goes to help support us.
And speaking of us, we've got another podcast.
Ghostfacers, a Supernatural rewatch. We're going through every single episode of the CW Supernatural. We talk about real-world monster lore, behind-the-scenes stuff about the show. We are most of the way through season 9 of 15. As you put it, we're at the end of the second third of the 9th season of 15.
I think that couldn't be any clearer.
Yeah.
Man, this whole like trying to be good and not horny. The restrictions might ruin the show.
I kind of feel like maybe we can only be horny.
Man,
no, my word is my bond.
This is
so help me God, this show will grind to a halt for the rest of the year.
This is gonna ruin the tour. That's it for this week. Adios. Ciao.
Heroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.